We've had this conversation and you seem to agree with me, but when there's complications you withdraw and leave me to be. When there's a problem you become like a wall, and every time I trip it's a free fall. Why don't you help me the way I help you? You don't have to save me, just be my parachute. When I'm feeling down you're just not there, making sure I'm okay. Why don't you help me the way I help you?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca. I am so excited to be sharing these videos. This first video is just going to kind of be an overview of me sort of dreaming, if you will, about what the garden's going to look like, where it's going to be, how big it's going to be, our greenhouse, fruit trees, all of that. So if you have been around on my channel for a while, I randomly just picked up a box of wildflowers last year and I planted those with my kids in a random spot in our yard. And it turned into, hey, I want to start growing food. I want a backyard orchard. So we are going big this year, and they say go big or go home. We have done so much research. My husband and I live in a double wide manufactured on about an acre. We have 2 little boys, and my dream is to one day turn this into a homestead. So for us, our first step is to turn all of this land back here into a really big garden. And I'm excited. I'm going to share every step of that with you. I am so passionate about gardening, and I didn't know that until last year. We started pretty small, so we did a lot of container gardening just to kind of figure out our soil, figure out what we could grow in our zone and how we wanted to grow those, kind of trying to amend our soil if we wanted to grow in ground, above ground. My greenhouse did not make it, if you can see, so that's a whole nother project. So I'm just kind of laying out these flags. My husband got these off Amazon. We have been planning out quite a bit in our backyard, where we want the kids' play area, where we're going to do our patio. There's so much that we have to do, but we are enjoying the slow process. Things take time, especially if you're doing them yourself, and honestly it just makes it sweeter. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of figure out how big and how wide we want the garden. We talked about it, and my husband got these flags off Amazon. We use them in the front yard when we were laying turf and all kinds of things. They come in so handy, and they came in a huge pack, so we use them to kind of figure out where we want to place the trees or whatnot. This is the gravel. I'll talk about this in a second. We have this in our yard. We have some really rocky clay underneath, so it was going to be great for drainage, and then it just turned into everything last year got fried because it was in like direct sunlight. So there's another spot in the yard. We will talk about that soon, but right now I'm just kind of planning out and trying to measure how wide I would like everything based on what we have decided to plant.
It's a free fall. Why don't you help me the way I help you?
So when it comes to gardening, I have found that these are like volunteer plants, and I have garlic that we had in a container somehow in here. My boys love to play in the garden with mommy. They love picking flowers last year, so I'm super excited. Hopefully we'll get more of a harvest when we do plant our food. Our tomatoes thrived through winter, and we actually got quite a bit of a snowstorm. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen. So they didn't last through that. So anyways, I love when gardening, sometimes you just kind of have to go with the flow, and if things don't work out, just like in life, you kind of just have to have backup plans. And you'll see that we actually moved the garden 100% in a completely different spot than I had originally wanted or planned, and I think it actually worked out a little better. So I'm just trying to figure out where my greenhouse was gonna fit. I didn't know if I wanted the greenhouse to be closed in. We actually need to gate this off. We have quite a bit of wildlife that we have to worry about, especially deer. They come into the backyard all the time. They will hop the fence, and there's a little family that lives close to us. There's probably like 6 or 7. I think they had babies last year. So we definitely have to make sure that anything that we do plant, especially if they are trees or food in such a mass quantity, I hope that they will survive. So I'm just trying to play around with the spacing.
Baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I won. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I want to be silly, baby. Dance the night away. I'll kick my shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free, and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box.
Took some measurements for my husband, and then I am checking on some trees that we planted last year. You guys, I had no idea that when you order trees from the Arbor Foundation, and yes, we have a massive population of clover in our backyard. We have a bunny or a mole. I'll show you later. I had no idea that these trees were so tiny, but honestly, like, I love nurturing little tiny plants and watching them grow. And I was out here one day last year, and I had a hair clip in my hair, and this tree was just hanging on for dear life. So I found a random stake and used a hair clip, and it's held up through all these storms, and I refuse to move it. So kind of just use what you have. One of my favorite channels, if you guys have been around for a while, you know I love Jess from Roots and Refuge. She has honestly been an inspiration for so many of the things that I'm wanting to take on this year. And I took on seedlings last year because of her videos, and she just makes gardening so approachable. One of her favorite mottos that she says is to turn your waiting room into a classroom, and last year our waiting room was just kind of figuring out what we were into, what we liked in the garden, things in different styles. We have kind of walked into this blindly, but I wouldn't do it any other way. I had the best time with my sons last year. Every time we went into the greenhouse, they were thrilled to check on our little seed babies. I have learned so many lessons. One, not to do so many at once. And honestly, like, it's just a process and a journey, and I absolutely love it. My kids are so excited to have the garden this year, and it's honestly just kind of opened my eyes to so many different possibilities. So I want to make these videos, one, to document our experience, because I think it's important for myself and my family just to kind of see how our garden and our backyard and our land grow, but hopefully also to motivate anybody if you were like me and just completely overwhelmed by the idea, like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing, I don't know where to start, then just pick up something. You can pick up gardening supplies at Dollar Tree. You guys know I love Dollar Tree, so I will always recommend that. They have an amazing supply of like first time beginner gardening. It's a minimal investment. If you don't like it, you're not breaking your bank. Pick up plants that are on the sale rack at Lowe's or Home Depot or, you know, your big box store. So it doesn't have to be this massive excursion, and you just can kind of dive into it. It's so much fun, and honestly, I've actually come to realize the gardening is kind of like my therapy. I won't want to be any other place during spring and summer. Doing those evening walks when the sun is coming down, it just does something to my heart. So I hope in some way that this motivates you to kind of just get out there, start a small container garden. You can garden on your balcony, you can garden on your windowsill, you can garden outside. Any space that you have, you can make it work. Here is, you guys, I don't know if this is a bunny or a mole. Everybody in my family thinks it's something different. They don't bother us, we don't bother them. We're not doing anything on this side of the yard yet. And then you'll see all of our wild blackberry bushes. You guys, this is such an interesting find. If I have a little clip, I'll try to find it. I think I put it on Instagram. My sons and I were in the backyard one day. I'm sorry for how wobbly this is. And this is an actual tree branch and an old tree branch from the tree that fell in our yard. And it just sprouted this little baby tree, so we actually buried it. I have no heart to pull it out. It's actually rooted in the ground, and it just sprouted these little baby trees. I don't know what kind of tree it is, but I'm intrigued to see it grow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for following along with me. I will see you on Sunday's Sunday Reset.